Good evening, guys. My name is Sanjay Singh. I welcome all of you to this online session on professional cloud network engineer on Google Cloud Platform. So, in this session, we're going to discuss about Google Cloud Platform overview. So, what are the basics which we have to understand, which we have to know about the Google Cloud Platform? So, first of all, we are going to discuss about Google Data Center. So, we are going to discuss about Google Data Centers. So in Google Data, if when we are going to discuss about Google Data Center, so there are four components on which Google Data Center are focusing right now. So first is number one is renewable energy. So Google has signed a contract with renewable energy companies for energy requirement which they can renew. Okay, so they are using solar panels which are spread on three continents. So that is the first thing. Second thing is they are using their custom servers for their data centers. So Google is building their custom servers for their data centers. So as per the requirement come, they are building their servers. Number three is efficiency. So basically the data center temperature. So they are maintaining their higher temperature, the higher internal temperature for 70 Fahrenheit, which is number three. So number four is data and security. So data and in terms of data and security, so Google is ensuring you at both sides in at data rest or in transit. So your data will be secure as well as there would be a physical security at their data centers. So physically the data centers are also secure. That is about Google data center. Next we are going to discuss about the presence of Google data centers. So right now in 18 regions Google data center are spread across the globe and the data centers are in 225 countries as well as they have 100 plus POPs, point of presence. They have 80 plus edge locations. Okay, so regions are the global location, global presence of the data centers. Then 225 countries where their data centers are placed. Okay, which are known as zones. Okay, so in Google, basically we will use two terms. There are three terms basically. There are three kind of resources. One would be your global resource, one, and then second would be your regional resource, and third would be your zonal resource. So region is like a physical location, and zones are like your data centers. Okay, so in one region there could be multiple data centers which are isolated with each other. So whatever resource you will place, so you will place your resource in zone. Okay, and if you need high availability, what you can do, you can place your resources into different zones for high availability purpose. Okay, that you can do. So point of presence means they have their own fiber channel, fiber cables, so which are spread into 100 countries, 100 locations across the globe. Okay, so and they have their shared partners also whom they have invested their cabling also, the fiber cabling also. Then we have the next concept is let's discuss in detail about regions and zones. Now, what is regions? So regions are independent geographical location that consist of zones. So main purpose is host applications near to your users to reduce latency and availability and durability purpose. So there are regions. Okay, now what are zones? So zones are physical locations inside a region. So zones provide geo redundancy used mainly for high availability and inside regions. So let's understand one thing. Let's assume that is your region one. Let's take an example. That is region one. So inside your region there would be zones. Now you can consider these zones like your data center, physical data centers. So let's assume that is your data center 1, that is your data center 2, that is your data center 3, which are isolated as well as connected with each other. Okay, so which you can use for high availability purpose. So you can create your resources within your region in multiple zones. Okay, that is the concept of regions and zones. So now I'm going to show you the list of regions. Let me show you that also. So these are the list of regions. So right now we have total 18 regions. So these are the regions. These are the region codes which you can use, and these are the zones basically, and that is the location. So currently we have 18 regions. And let's talk about GCP resources. So as I told you, we have three kind of resources. One would be global, then regional, and then zonal. So global, regional, and zonal. So there are three categories of resources. So what are global resources? So the resources which comes under in global resources, you can access those resources globally, like network. So network comes into global. So you globally you can access disk images. They also come into global resources. Then snapshots. Snapshots also come into global resources section. And then networks. So network we have already considered. So basically these are the examples. These are the resources which comes under in global section. That means you can access from anywhere. So the resources which come under into global section, they can be accessed from anywhere. Now the resources which would be a regional, so like for an example, static IP address. Okay, so static IP comes into regional resources, and if it is a regional resources, so within region it will be accessible. So within region means if there would be multiple zones, so this static IP will be accessible from all over the zones within the region. Okay, Then zonal resources. So the resources which come under in zone, like VM virtual machines, VM disk, etc. They comes under in zonal resources. So within zone you can access. So if there is a region, there are multiple zones. So there is a VM in your all zones. So this VM will be accessible within this zone. This VM will be accessible within this zone. Okay, I hope you all understand this. Now after Google, after resources, let's discuss about the services which is provided by Google, what kind of services are available. So let's discuss first of all compute section. So in compute section, we have compute engine, we have app engine, and we have container engine, we have container registry, we have cloud functions. So these are the resources which come under into compute section. Then we have identity and security. So in identity and security, we have cloud IAM, where you can manage your users, your policies, your groups. Then we have cloud resource manager. Then we have cloud security, cloud security scanner, and we have one more service which is known as cloud platform security. Cloud platform security. These are the components which come under into identity and security. Then we have networking section. So in networking, we have cloud virtual network, we have cloud load balancer, we have cloud CDN, we have cloud interconnect, and we have cloud DNS. So these are the resources which come under into networking section. Then let's come to storage part. So under storage we have cloud storage, we have cloud big data, we have cloud database, we have cloud SQL, we have persistence disk. So these are the resources which come under into cloud storage and databases. So these are the few services which I have discussed. There are lots of services. There are many more services which Google is providing right now. Then let's discuss about resource hierarchy. So for discussing resource hierarchy, we need to, I have created a diagram. So through that diagram, you can understand resource hierarchy. So resource hierarchy is like this. So first of all, your organization. So that is in your organization there would be an organization, then there would be departments. Under your departments there would be a team. So under your team, each team have some product. Okay, so all products have some departments, some projects. Okay, so all projects have some resources. So similar, like if you want to manage your organization through layer wise. Okay, so there are basically these are the layers, like organization, folders, projects, and resources. These are the layers where you can manage your resources, as well as your billing, as well as your policies and permissions. Correct. So first of all, company means your organization, your enterprise. Okay, so that is your business unit basically. So here you will assign your organization ID, your display name, your organization display name, honor, etc. These kind of information you will provide here. Then folder like your departments, your business units, so which will display the name of your department. Okay, so like logistic and department, production department, okay, marketing department. So similar like that, there are departments like department X, Y, shared infrastructure. Okay, so under your departments there would be team, so which comes under into folder section. So team A, team B. So now team A have two products, product one and product two. Okay, so now each product have some projects. Okay, so now product one have three projects: development project, testing project, and production project. So now these projects come under into projects section. So basically these are the layers where you can apply your billings, your IAM, that means accessibility of your users. Okay, and then resources come under into project. So in each project there would be resources which will be isolated from each other. Okay, so these resources, the resources which will be in project, this test project, that will be isolated from other projects. Correct, that is the hierarchy of Google. Next, let's understand the billing and IEM with hierarchy. Hmm. So there are two parts. One is IAM, identity and access management, and one is billing, resourcing, and resource billing and resource monitoring. So organization part comes, the IAM will, which we will apply, that will be applied from top to bottom, and billing will be applied from bottom to top. Sorry, in Google hierarchy. Now first of all discuss about what is IAM. So IAM means policies. Okay, so what are policies? Policies are set of roles and members. Okay, so if you will assign someone honor, permission, or full permission on organization side, so this permission will be inherited to all the resources, all the layers, so that user would be able to manage all the resources. Okay, so resource inherit policies from parent, as I told you. Okay, policies are union of parent and resources. So if parent less restrictive, over is more restrictive resource policies. So you need to apply a granular permission. So you can apply a granular permission through IAM, okay, for managing these layers. So as per the layer wise, you can assign permission to your users. So like a project manager who needs organization full access permission, who need permission to manage all the resources at any time. So you will assign a permission, you will assign a role to him, so he can access and manage all the layers. Then the user who is going to manage your teams only, The user who is going to manage your projects only, the user who is going to manage individual project or individual resource. So you can manage your permissions through IEM. Now for billing, billings are consolidated at project layer. Okay, so each project have their own billing. Okay, and this will be applies from bottom to top. So organization contains all billing accounts. So in your inside your organization, all billings account will be there. Project is associated with one billing account. So one project, there would be one billing account. So project accumulate consumption of all resources. So the resources which are associated inside your project, you will get a bill for those resources in your project. So resources belong to only one project. As I told you, all the resources are isolated from each other inside a project. Okay, so that is about IEM and billing. So basically, how you are going to manage your resources hierarchically. Okay, that we are going to understand. Now let's understand about the roles and responsibility. So that is not necessary to create that kind of hierarchy. You can create your individual account. Okay, anyone can create their individual account, and then he can access the services. But still, if you are going to implement this solution for your organization, but then there would be a hierarchy. Okay, now let's understand the roles. So the person who is acting like organization admin. Okay, so he have full access over all resources inside the organization. Okay, that means at department level, team level, product level, project level, resource level. So you have full access inside the organization. Okay, next role is organization viewer. So the person who have organization viewer role, so he would be able to see all the resources inside all projects. Then there would be a role for folder admin. So folder admin is responsible for creating and managing folders, and he can create and manage folders. Next role would be folder viewer. So person who would be folder viewer, he can view all the folders. Then there is a next role which is project creator. So the user who have role of project creator, he can create projects inside organization. Okay, next is resource roles. Now resource roles are individual roles which you can assign on individual resources for managing individual resources like compute, for storage, for app engine. So there would be multiple individual roles for your all resources. So these are the roles which you can manage as your hierarchy. So there are few service account which you can use. Next, let's discuss service account. Service accounts, what they are basically, service accounts is like you have your compute engine, okay, which is a service which is running into your Google Cloud. Okay, and there is a storage service. So what you want to interact from compute service to your cloud service. Okay, so for this, what you can do, you can use your users, you can assign a permission to user for access cloud service, cloud storage. Okay, and compute. So you can assign a service to a user so that user can access cloud storage. Okay, that is the first way. But what if that user leave your organization, is not any more part of your organization? So there would be a new user which will come, and okay, and you want that he can manage all the services from all the cloud services from this compute engine. Okay, so what you will do, you will assign this permission to that user, the permission which was assigned to that user, and you have to revoke all the permission from that user. So that is a extra overhead on admin, basically doing like this. Okay, so what you can do, you can create service account. Okay, so service account directly associate with one application to another application. That means you are assigning a permission to compute engine to access cloud storage. So assigning that kind of permissions, you will use service account. So there are three kinds of service account in GCP, in Google Cloud. So you can create your own service account, your custom service account. You can use built-in virtual machine and app engine service account, or you can use Google APIs internally. So that is totally up to you how you are going to use these service accounts. Then, as we are discussing about projects, so we have projects in Google Cloud. So you can track your resources, you can apply your quota limit to your project. So basically, let's suppose you're planning to spend $100 per month on your resources, so that you can specify into your project quota limit. Okay, so you can specify a quota on $100. So the users who are creating or managing this project, so they will be restricted to use the resources up to $100. Correct. You can enable billing inside your project. You can manage your permission. You can enable services. And API. So that is about projects, why we are going to use projects. Okay, next is what kind of attributes project use. So project use project name, project number, and then project ID. So these are the attributes which a project will use. So projects are like your inside your organization, like testing environment, development environment, production environment. So what you will do, you will isolate your all environment through projects. Okay, so the resources which would be which you want to use for testing purpose, for development purpose, so you want to isolate those resources. So what you will do, you will create a project, individual project for testing, individual project for development, individual project for production environment, and there would be a different billing, and then there would be a different quotas for all projects which you can specify and later you can manage. So guys, that is about projects. Now let's discuss about quotas. So quotas, as I told you, you can apply quota to your to manage your billing, to manage your resources. Okay, and there are some global quotas which are assigned by Google. So if you reach to that limit, then you can increase your resource limit as well. Okay, to request, to placing a request on Google. So there is a project side quotas also, which is assigned by Google, which is you can access, you can create 5 network per project. that is a global quota. Okay, you can use 30 virtual CPUs per region. Okay, so that is a global quota, but if you want, you can increase that quota limit by placing a request to Google. So that is all basic about Google platform. So in next lecture, we'll discuss about uh, our tools, our services. Okay, so if you want to access or if you want to interact with Google platform, so you can interact through Google UI, you can interact through CLI, you can manage all the services through CLI or through APIs. So these are the way to manage Google services. Thank you guys. Bye bye.